my name is Abigail. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a very fun video where we talk about all the books I've read so far this year, and I'm going to give you guys some life updates since I last uploaded 2 years ago. I'm trying to figure out this lighting situation. I am moving in 2 weeks-ish, a little less than 2 weeks. I'm gonna be in a new space, trying to figure that out. So we're just gonna let this roll for right now while I'm still living here. And then in my new place, I'll just figure it out, I guess. But today, this is what we're working with. So if you see the ring light, sorry. It's bothering me probably way more than it's bothering you. Before I begin, I just want to give a huge shout out to Caleb Joseph, who did this video on his channel a couple months ago. When he made his great return to YouTube, he did all the books he had read so far that year, plus life updates. So this is completely ripped off of him. I'm gonna link that video in the title cards and down below. You should definitely go check it out. He is so funny. Thank you for the inspo king. Let's get started, shall we? I'm going to Goodreads on my iPad, and I'm just going to the bottom of my reading challenge, and we'll talk about the books as they come. I set my reading challenge to 50 books and I've read 32 and I'm 4 books behind. This is why I never set high reading goals, you guys, because they stress me out. The very first book that I read this year was called Dinner for Vampires: Life on a Cult TV Show by Bethany Joy Lenz. I audiobooked this on Spotify. I highly recommend audiobooking this memoir because Bethany Joy herself narrates it, and she's a trained actress, which makes her audiobook narration just so killer. And I also think that memoirs are really fun to hear from the voice and from the mouth who wrote them and who experienced them. It just, I think, makes the experience better. I didn't give it a rating because I don't really like to rate memoirs, but it was an absolutely fantastic read. It was a really great memoir. Highly recommend. The second book that I read this year was kind of left over from the end of 2024. I was kind of reading it around Christmas time, and that was House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the Crescent City trilogy. This, first of all, these books are huge. I know this book is huge and some of these are huge, but Crescent Cities, they are all so massive. I did not love it as much as I loved House of Earth and Blood, or as much as I loved House of Flame and Shadow, which I'll talk about in a second, but I did really enjoy this book. I gave this book a 4 stars, and if anyone was wondering, I gave House of Earth and Blood a 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I liked the way that it's kind of took what we had from the first book and then expanded on it, and I really liked learning about a lot more of the character dynamics and the different characters in the novel, but it just didn't hit the exact same way for me as House of Earth and Blood did. But obviously it's Sarah J. Maas, so I'm gonna love it. Next one on the list was another audiobook, memoir, Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. Again, I don't rate memoirs, so there's no rating for this one. If you are a fan of Harry Potter and you want a way to engage with Harry Potter in a way that does not support J.K. Rowling, because we do not stand J.K. Rowling around here, supporting the actors that were a part of Harry Potter in their other works is a really great way to do that. I grew up on Harry Potter. I really loved Harry Potter, and I still do love Harry Potter, but obviously try to engage with it a little bit differently these days. So I was really excited to pick up this audiobook and give it a listen. I will say that it does focus on Harry Potter a lot. I mean, it's called Beyond the Wand, the magic and mayhem of growing up a wizard. So he focuses a lot about his time on Harry Potter, which makes sense. I mean, there's a large span of his childhood that was 10, 12 years of his life. I absolutely get that. But I guess that I was wanting to go into this getting a little bit more of information about his life outside of that, because I knew he struggled with drug addiction and different things. But you would have whole chapters dedicated talking about his specific relationships with people that he worked with on Harry Potter, which I understand that, again, they're a really big part of his life, but I thought that could be integrated maybe more so throughout the chapters talking about his time on Harry Potter, and then after that we could get more about other things that he did, I guess. If you like Harry Potter, I would say give it a listen. I mean, there's lots of fun information on there, but just as a memoir about Tom Felton, I think that he pigeonholed himself a little bit in his own work, and I would have loved to have seen it be expanded upon. But I guess we all know what he's up to, so he cannot let that wand go, you guys. He cannot let the wand go. As you can probably tell by the gaping hole in my shelf, the next book that I read this year was House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. I think I called it a trilogy earlier. It is a series. The 4th one, which is presumably House of Many Waters, will be coming out sometime you know, y'all know how Sarah is. She just loves to keep us on our toes. Unpopularly, I think, loved this book. I gave this one a 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed the way it integrated other things. I don't really want to spoil any of the Sarah J Maas verse for anyone who hasn't read it, but I really like the way that it integrated other things. It is also crazy the time span that this gigantic book takes place is like 2 weeks or like a week. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. I really, really enjoyed this book, and where it left off left me very, very excited for what's to come for the rest of the Maasverse and the rest of this series. Obviously, then at the beginning of this year, out came Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing series, the Empyrean series. Another banger for me. I gave this book a 5 stars. I really felt like with this one, we returned to the magic that we felt, or that I felt at least, in Fourth Wing. I feel like in Iron Flame, it was just so dense. And because of the way that she needed to move the plot along, we kind of lost some important characterization. I feel like this brought back that initial magic that Fourth Wing had that we maybe kind of lost in Iron Flame. Where it left me off, again, I'm excited to see where the rest of the series goes. I do have my trepidations. That is for another video, but y'all know I freaking love this series, and I loved Onyx Storm. Okay, that seems like a good place to kind of take a break and talk about some life updates. So obviously the biggest one that I mentioned at the beginning of this video is I am moving. I moved houses last year with my family. We downsized, my parents did, and they got a new house, and that's the room that I'm in right now. But I am actually moving in with my boyfriend, Josh. I might do a moving vlog about it. I haven't really quite decided. I'll have to see how that goes. But you'll definitely see some good videos of me setting up my new bookshelf, and I'll do a whole like bookshelf organization and bookshelf tour because I'm finally expanding my bookshelf, which is good because this one is out of room, baby. This one's out of room. It is my first time moving away from my parents' house, my first time not living with my parents, and obviously we're taking a really big step and moving in together. That is equal parts very exciting and very weird. It's all feeling very surreal because this is like my last full week and my last weekend living with my parents, and I'm not even gonna be here. I'm going out of town. It's something that you always think about, you know, doing, and then I don't know, for me at least, I could never actually imagine it happening for me just because I didn't know when it would be. So the fact that it's happening now, kind of great. But we found a place we really like. I bought a couch for the first time a couple weeks ago. That's the next big event of my life. Kind of have to get packing. I don't know. This might be the only video we do from this angle with this bookshelf and this setup because like I have to start packing stuff up, and it just, my books gotta go. Like they just gotta go. All right. Let's get back to the books. Okay, what did I read next? It's kind of fun for me because I don't really remember like every single book that I read this year or like when I read it, so it's kind of like a fun little journey for me too. Next up, I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Y'all know me and Ali. We're like this. This is my best friend. This is my best friend. Like, she's my girl. I buy every single book that Ali writes because like I said, I love her. She's only ever had one miss for me, and it wasn't this book, so let's talk about it. This is obviously her paranormal romance. I had never read anything like it. I did really enjoy this book. I loved the characters. I loved Lo. I loved the dynamics of the vampires and the werewolves. I annotated it a little bit, okay, because Lo was just being that guy for me. It was something very new for me. I don't really tend to reach for like Omegaverse stuff. I don't really know if I will in the future. I don't really know what that looks like for me, but I will be reading Mate when it comes out. Oh, and I gave this a 5 stars, I'm sure. Yeah. It's Ali. Come on now, y'all. Y'all can expect nothing less from me. And speaking of Ali, the next book that I read this year was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. And y'all, this book. Let's talk about it. This book ate down. I fear. This book, Ali did her motherfucking big one with Deep End. Oh my God, Lucas, come over here, baby. Let's have a chat. Let's talk. How are you? How you been? How you doing? I loved it. I loved the sport element of it. I really loved learning about diving. I know nothing about diving, but I do now know some stuff. I loved reading about it. I loved the like underlying tension between her and the best friend. I loved the pining. I loved learning about Lucas's long-term pining because to me, the best thing a man can do is pine and yearn. That's the best thing a man can do is pine and yearn. And this book, it's got it in loads, baby. It's so good. It's so good. And I actually met Ali Hazelwood this year, and I got some of my book signed, one of them being this one, and she has a little stamp, "This is wet." This was all I talked about. I was like, hey, so Lucas, about that. Yeah, let's talk about it. She's like, let's. 5-star banger for me. It is definitely my favorite Ali Hazelwood to date, and it unseated Adam as my long-term Ali Hazelwood book boyfriend #1. That was Deep End. I loved it. So good. So next up, I read Expiration Dates by Rebecca Sorrell. I hope I'm saying that right. I had this book because I thought that the premise was really exciting. The idea that she gets these love letters that tell her who she's gonna date next and for how long. And the premise of the book is that she's finally gotten one that doesn't have an expiration date on it. She thinks this is her one. And I was so excited to read it, and I fear that it just really fell flat for me. I gave it a 2 stars, which if you know me, you know I do not give out 2 stars. Okay, because I feel like at least for the respect for the author who took the time to write it, a 3 stars, okay? Felt like the first half and the second half of the book felt like 2 completely different books. The magical realism was completely derailed by this other like B plot that got introduced halfway through the book that then took over everything. It just lacked an execution for me. I think that marketing this as a romantic magical realism book is the wrong angle. The marketing of the book and the way that someone goes into a book is very, very important. And the way this was marketed, at least to me, was as a romantic magical realism book. And that's really just not what it is. It is more of a contemporary novel with romantic elements. And if you haven't read it and you want to, I'm not saying don't, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you won't. But I just want to put it on your mind right now that this is a contemporary novel. Another really exciting memoir that came out this year and that I audiobooked this year was The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom by Sherry Frankie. This novel was amazing. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this novel. This is the first like true real account that we have of a child who grew up on the internet because of their parents' choice to vlog or be on the internet and the impact that had on their life. Obviously, Ruby Frankie is a very extreme case that unfolded into something much more than the, toxic household creation from family vlogging. It's obviously a lot more than that to the story. It is a very insightful firsthand account of what it's like to be the child of a family vlogger, what it means to have an abusive parent. Highly impactful, highly insightful. Sherry also narrates it, which makes the experience of listening that much better. Unless you live under a rock, you will know that another very, very, very exciting and highly anticipated novel came out at the beginning of this year. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Obviously, this was a 5 stars for me. I was crying, bro. I was literally crying from like page 1. If you don't know what it is for some reason, this book is about Haymitch's Games, the 50th Hunger Games. It is an excellent prequel to the original trilogy. It expands on some of the Easter eggs that we get in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, adds depths and layers to the original story that we know. I feel like this was the perfect prequel to the original trilogy. It is a 5 stars for me, and I'm sat. Y'all, the casting directors for this freaking movie locked the fuck in. They sat down with the president at Disney Channel and they said they wanted to make history, and that's what this is. I'm so excited for this freaking movie. You'll catch me sat. Last in this little wave of books before I give another life update is The Villain Edit by Lori DeVore. This is a book basically about The Bachelor. If you watch The Bachelor or really any other like dating TV show, you know that someone has to be the bad guy because that's what keeps viewers engaged. They want the drama, they want the tea, they want the juicy spill, and they want someone that they love to hate. And that's what this character seeks out to be. I gave this book a 3 stars. I felt as though the plot was semi-lost, because it's kind of told in dual timelines. One of after the show has already been filmed and it's airing to the public, and one of as the show is being filmed. I would have much rather this book have just been about filming the show and what it's like to be on the show and getting the villain edit. So I felt like the plot was kind of lost because we get into a lot of different dynamics about obviously the relationship that production has with the contestants and people who are on these TV shows. Also, like, we don't get a lot of context about her and the Bachelor's relationship. I feel like the plot was just semi-lost with this one, but I did enjoy it, and I feel like she wrote it for TRR. Next big life update is that I joined a book club. It was last hardcover day, okay, hardcover sale day, 2024, and I was perusing the shelves of the fantasy section, as I so often do, and there were these 2 wonderful girls, just like they were talking about something, and I kind of interjected a thought, whatever, you know how it is, you've been out in public, you know how it goes, and we had just been chatting, kikiing, whatever. And then we part ways. I go, I'm doing more perusing. And then they come back up to me. And they ask me if I live in the area. And I say yes, because I obviously do. And then she asked if I want to join her book club. And so I did it. I really have enjoyed being part of a book club and having a bookish community. My mom was commenting about it when I was at Villains and Vixens. She was like, this book club low-key changed your life. And it did low-key changed my life. I have so many amazing friends now in the bookish community. I've had so many amazing opportunities to do things with them, and just because of them or through them or whatever that I've gotten to do this year because I joined this book club. So huge shout out to Emma Love you, girl. Love you, girl. And to all my book club friends who are watching because they're so endlessly supportive of me, thank y'all so much. Y'all truly have changed my life. And I'm so happy to know you guys and to read books with y'all and talk about life and just be friends. So that was a huge life change for me. And it's really enriched my life in a lot of ways. It's just the most fun ever. So yay! Speaking of book club, this next book was also a book club pick. I almost didn't read because I knew that I wasn't gonna get to go to the book club meeting for the month that we were doing this, and the book wasn't really on my radar, so I was like, I don't know. But I read it and I'm so glad I did. That's called Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. I really, really enjoyed this book. I can't believe that I almost didn't pick it up because I freaking adore this book. I gave it a 4 stars. Ending was just like a little bit for me, but other than that, I absolutely freaking adored it. I made my little sister read it and she loved it as well. Also, this is beautiful. This is like Barnes & Noble like edition. Edges and the pink. And then I love... That was not good. I wanted to show y'all the front cover because I just love when a book is pretty without the dust jacket too. I'm gonna do another video where I'll talk about this one a little bit more in depth, so I'm not gonna go too far into it. You'll have to wait for the next one, I guess, to see. Next up, we have Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel. This book was crazy, you guys. This book was crazy. This book was like a car accident that you feel like you should look away, but you kind of can't. You're kind of just like, you know what I mean? I gave it 5 stars just because I was literally like so entranced by this book. I think I read this book in like a day. My Goodreads review of this book was literally just, yo, this was crazy. Cause yo, this was crazy. It was just crazy. And I have forced one of my other friends to read it. I don't know what she rated it. Let me see. She rated it a 5 stars too, and her review says, what the helly? That's so true, Raceland. That's so true. This book is fucking crazy, bro. If you like true crime, like to read about serial killers or just weird shit like that, read this fucking book. Read this fucking book. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. Taking a hard left from serial killers, the next book I read this year was Wings of Starlight by Allison Saft. This is a book that's set in the Disney Pixie Hollow universe. If you've ever watched Tinkerbell Secret of the Wings, there is like this B plot that exists where you kind of find out that the Queen Clarion of the Pixie Hollow fairies was kind of a thing with the Warden of the Winter Woods. But something happened between them which banned all the warm fairies from going over to where the cold fairies live. Is a whole thing. And this book was about that story. It was the story of Queen Clarion and what's his name? Mallory, who is the Warden of the Winter Woods. What did I rate it? A 4 stars. That feels about right. It's just a sweet little fun read, especially if you were into Tinkerbell as a kid. I definitely was. If anyone was wondering, my favorite's Silver Mist because I'm bisexual, so obviously. It really had something fun to deliver and I really enjoyed it. Then I read Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. Something that I learned about myself is that if it's a Reylo fanfic turned original IP release, I'm gonna eat that shit up. And I'm gonna love the author who wrote it because obviously you can tell by the cover, this is a Reylo fanfic that has been scrubbed of Reylo and turned into a novel. And that's what Ali Hazelwood did too with Love Hypothesis, and that ate and I loved it. Now Ali Hazelwood's my best friend. That's how I feel about Julie Soto. After I read this, I was like, yeah, auto buy author. Anything she writes, I'm a buy. I'm a read. This book was so good. I rated it a 4 stars. The only reason why I didn't like it was because of a scene that happens at the end. So I don't really want to spoil that for you guys, but it took off a little bit half star. So my actual rating was a 4.5, but I decided to round down because it didn't hit like a 5-star read for me. I thought 4 stars would be like more accurate, but I really liked this book and I did go out and buy every single Julie Soto book ever written. So there we go. Next book I read, I'm not gonna talk too much about just because it was a book that I had to read for school. It was called Useful Delusions by Shankar Vedantam. I don't really know how to say that. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I don't want to butcher it. It was a fine book. It was for school, so whatever. Next up though is a book that is not whatever at all. It's actually everything. It's actually everything. Everything is Tuberculosis: The History and Persistence of Our Deadliest Infection by John Green. It was another book that I audiobooked because John Green narrates it. I will say I was a little bit hesitant to read this book because low-key a book about the history of tuberculosis just did not seem like the most fun time ever. But John Green is John Green. Y'all just gotta trust his process. He has a way of weaving through storylines that are absolutely heartfelt and touching. I cried at the end of this book. I felt like it was a very important story to be told, and the way that he told it was very accessible. And I absolutely loved it, and I rated it a 5 stars. Okay, up next is my little string of summer fun reads. Starting with First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is a take on Sleepless in Seattle without all the things that make Sleepless in Seattle so problematic. Low-key. All my friends are talking about this book, and I have one friend who absolutely adores B.K. Borison. We have very similar tastes in books, so I was like, if she likes it, I will like it. Let me read this book. I greatly enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4-star, I think. Yes, a 4-star. Pacing was a little bit challenging for me at points. I kind of felt like there was a little bit of repetitiveness that didn't need to be there. But other than that, I absolutely adored it. I'm excited to read more B.K. Borison in the future because I think that the way she writes her characters very accessible and fun. I feel like she writes her characters that feel like really, really real people. Hello, late night editing Abigail here with her little teddy bear. I never really finished my thoughts about First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. So I just wanted to add really fast that I really enjoyed the book. I rated it a 4 stars. I'm very excited to see what other B.K. Borison books have to offer because I feel like the pacing problem that I had was maybe something that was specific to the book, that she was like this specific book, and could be solved in other novels of hers. So yeah, okay, on to the next one. Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This book came out earlier this year. It is a companion novel to her book Not in Love. There was one book that was a miss for me for Ali. It was Not in Love. So I was a little bit hesitant going into this one, just knowing that it was a companion novel to that book. I just need to have trust and I need to have faith. I just need to have trust and I need to have faith because she always does what she needs to do. Like, she always does what she needs to do. This was an age gap romance. Maya Kilgore is 23 and Connor Harkness is 38. So this is an age gap romance. And the one thing that I did not like about it, the one thing that just knocked it off 1 down star for me, was that maybe it's because I'm 23, but I did not like the way that Connor was talking to Maya like she was a fucking child. She's not a child. She's 23. I'm a grown adult. If anyone talked to me that way, I'd be like, friend, why are you talking to me that way? Like, I get it. I'm in my 20s, but I'm still an adult. Like, you can still talk to me like I'm a grown adult who can handle things. So that's the only thing that really bothered me, just because Connor, like, she's still a grown up. Like, she's not 16. But girl, I still loved it. And Connor kind of reminded me of Edward Cullen. Utmost compliment I can give literally any book boyfriend ever, because he reminds me of Edward Cullen. Next, Attached at the Hip by Christine Riccio. This is her 3rd novel. It is a Survivor kind of spin-off based reality TV show. I gave this book a 3 stars, I feel. Yes, I did give it a 3 stars. I think it's okay for a book to be 3 stars. I think 3 stars is a good rating because to me a 3 stars is a book that I enjoyed reading and I had a good time, and sometimes that's all it has to be. Like, not every single book needs to be like this like literary masterpiece. Like, sometimes it's just allowed to be fun, and this book was really fun. I read this book in like a day and a half. It was a page turner for me. Like, I found it really fun to read, and sometimes that's all you need. So if you just want like a fun little like lay out by the pool, something fun to read for the summertime, Attached at the Hip is a really, really great one. So these next 3 books we're gonna talk about all together because I have a lot to say. To say that these books changed my life would be an understatement. It would be an absolute understatement. Let's just get them out, shall we? So the next 3 books that I read this year were Spark, Glow, and Heat of the Everflame, the first 3 books in the Kindred's Curse saga. You guys, to say that this changed my life is understatement of the freaking year. I adore these books. I freaking adore them. So these are all by Penn Cole. And these are originally indie published, then they got picked up for trad. Heat is the first book that I ever fully annotated. Like, look at all those tabs, baby. And like, I got a key in the front, y'all. I got a glossary. And they're all signed because I met Penn Cole at Villains and Vixens, these books. So I did a reading retreat with my book club in July, and we did a special reading retreat book club pick, and it was Spark of the Everflame. I started reading it on my Hilton Head vacation earlier this year, a week before we went to our reading retreat. And by the time we got the reading retreat a week later, I had read Spark, I had read Glow, and I had already started Heat. Penn Cole is pushing P's, and by P's I mean pen to paper, because she be writing, you guys. She be writing. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Luther Courbois. The man that Luther Courbois is. All of the annotations that I have in Glow are Luther being my hot, sexy boyfriend. Y'all know my #1 book boyfriend of all time, Rowan Whitethorn. I was reading these books and I was like, Rowan, you better be scared. You better be scared because Luther is coming for your bag. Reading these books was the closest I have felt to reading Throne of Glass since I read Throne of Glass. They're romantasy novels, really amazing story about overcoming oppressive systems, about stepping into your power. I think the magic system in here is so unique. I need to do a whole separate video talking about these books to like really relay my thoughts. But if you have Spark of the Everflame sitting on your shelf because you bought it, you're like, oh yeah, I'll get to it eventually, I'll get to it someday. Let someday be today. Let someday be today. I need everyone to read it. I just need everyone to read it. So you should read it. Please read it. 4 ratings. I gave Spark a 4 and Glow and Heat both a 5 stars. Glow might be my favorite book of the year. It lives in my head rent free. It lives in my head rent free. So good. I think it's time for another life update. As I mentioned, I'm moving, and the reason why I'm moving is, well, A, because, you know, I'm 23, so probably should move out of my parents' house eventually, but also because I actually went back to school. As y'all know, I was taking time off from school and I was mostly focusing on work and acting, but I went back to school, technically spring 2024 was my first semester, but it was with a different major and it was all online, so I don't really count that as like my going back to school era. So really fall of 2024 is when I went back to school. Right now I go to a community college near me, but I'm actually transferring in the spring to a university. I am an accounting major and I'm hoping to get my CPA. I'm hoping to get enrolled in the master's fast track at the university I'm attending and get my CPA. I really enjoy being in the student environment and being back in school. I have always really thrived in an academic environment. It's given me a lot of routine and joy and purpose back into my life that I was kind of missing when I was just kind of working and then doing acting. If any of you guys are in creative fields, you know that just the hustle and grind of a creative field can be really discouraging sometimes. And I was feeling really just kind of out of control with my life, and I made the decision to go back to school because I just knew I wanted to go back to school. But the reason that I chose accounting is because I got really into personal finance. That kind of led into me, you know, maybe wanting to pursue like a finance degree, but then I ended up going with accounting because I like the structure of accounting. I like the idea of solving puzzles and you do this and then you do that and then you do this and you do that, and like low-key the repetitive nature is very comforting, I guess, to me. Like I really excel doing things like that. That's why I chose to go back for accounting. And I know it's like so boring. Like no one's excited to be an accountant, but I really enjoy it. I'm in my first accounting class right now this semester and I'm quite enjoying it so far. And I think that there's ways that I can make accounting really fun for me. I kind of just view work as something that I'm gonna do to fuel my hobbies and my passions, and accounting is a job that I can really see myself doing and enjoying while I'm at work in order to fulfill the life that I want to lead outside of work. So yeah, I'm back in school, and if anyone's wondering, I have a 4.0 because I'm just that girl. Let's get back to the books that I read this year. Okay, up next, I read Silver Elite by Dani Francis. This book was like going super like viral, and I did not like it. I have it rated as a 3 stars on Goodreads, and I think in reality it's sitting somewhere between a 2.5 to 3 stars. The reason I gave it 3 stars is because I liked reading it. Like when I was reading it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is fun. But when I take a step back and look at the bigger picture of this is supposed to be a dystopian novel about, you know, fighting systems of oppression, it just kind of fell flat for me in that way. If you want my full review, I have a very lengthy one on Goodreads. I'll have my Goodreads linked below because I don't really want to spend too much time talking about it. I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum, and also I don't want to discredit the author who, you know, took the time to write a book. I mean, she's done more than me. I haven't written a book, you know what I mean? Like, who am I? Not every book is for me, and that's okay. But if you want to know my Goodreads review, I'll have it linked down below. You can go check it out. But yeah, I read that book. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Then I read Hope and Other Punchlines by Julie Buxbaum. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a young adult novel about this town that was heavily affected by 9/11 and these 2 kids who were heavily affected by 9/11. I gave it a 4 stars. It's a really great young adult novel that I would highly recommend to adults and young adults alike. The next book I read this year was Lila Dean's Little Free Library banned books by Kirsten Miller. With all the book bans that are being proposed and are being discussed and some that are being enacted, this book is very culturally relevant. It is a satirical dark comedy about the effects of book bans and why they are wrong, and this one community's attempt at banning books actually swings in the wild opposite direction. I gave this book a 4 stars. Again, it's a satirical dark comedy, so some of it is a little bit cheesy, but like I said, I think it's very culturally appropriate, and I found a lot of hope within this book, and I just really liked it, and I thought it was a fun way to kind of tackle the dark subjects and the difficult subjects that can sometimes be brought about when people talk about banning books. Next up, we got Summer in the City by Alex Astor. I actually went to the Austin book tour date for this book, and that's where I met Alex Astor and Ali Hazelwood because Ali Hazelwood is moderating it. So it is signed to me. This is a billionaire or like millionaire romance between a tech mogul and a screenwriter. This is the first Alex Astor book I've ever read. I own Lightlark. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. It was summertime. I wanted a fun summer read, so I thought, why not pick this up, especially because I went to go meet her and I thought that'd be really fun. I gave this book a 3 stars. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I found some of the characterization to be a little bit like falling flat for me. I still had like a pretty good time reading it. There's a reason why so much media is set in New York. It's just a very fun backdrop for your story. I really enjoyed kind of seeing them kind of gallivant around the city and do different things. And there was this one part where they go to Little Italy and they try cannolis, and I have also had that experience. I had my very first cannoli in Little Italy in New York, and I thought that the reaction that they had to trying those cannolis to be biblically accurate, because the way they felt about the cannoli is the same way that I felt about the cannoli. And I've had a bunch of cannolis since I left Little Italy, but none of them will ever be that first one that I had. It was just so good. It's also just a beautiful book. Like, look at those edges. It's so pretty. We're getting down to brass tacks. We are almost done with all the books that I read this year. Up next was the latest audiobook memoir that I listened to, which was Semi-Well-Adjusted Despite Literally Everything by Alison Stoner. I highly, highly, highly recommend this. Hey guys, back from the editing chair, and I'm also in my new apartment. I ended up scrapping all the original footage that I had recorded talking about this memoir because I was misgendering Allison, and I never want to do that. Allison goes by they, them pronouns, and I was not using those in my original footage, so there was no point in keeping it in the video. This is a highly impactful memoir. It is a really great deep dive, real look to what it means to grow up and be a child star in the entertainment industry. Allison is very giving in terms of their stories and their wisdom and their insights, and it's a really, really raw, real book. And because of that, there is a pretty significant list of trigger warnings at the beginning of the audiobook, and I assume the ebook and physical copy as well. But I specifically want to highlight any triggers regarding eating disorders, familial abuse, and sexual assault. Allison goes into pretty great depth talking about these things in this memoir. So if that's something that's potentially triggering to you, either proceed with caution or consider skipping the memoir altogether. There are plenty of stories and YouTubers and people who have covered this memoir that you can figure out the message and the story and the core insights that Allison wanted to impart on the readers without potentially triggering yourself. So with all that being said, this is a really fantastic memoir, highly anticipated. It was so fantastic. I really do recommend. But again, please proceed with caution with those trigger warnings, and then let's get back to the video. Next up I read was Modern Lovers by Emma Straub. I freaking love Emma Straub. This Time Tomorrow was my #1 book of 2023, so I was very, very excited to finally get to reading this one. This is another book that's set in New York. It is a contemporary novel following these two families that live in New York that have known each other for years. I would say that it's a book about love and about grief and about the choices that we make in our lives. I gave this book a 4 stars and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm excited to continue to read Emma Straub books in the future because I just like her writing style. I like the themes that she explores in her books a lot. Interjection from editing Abigail. I had wanted to put another life update in this section of the video, but at this point in filming I was so tired and my back hurt so much and my throat hurt from talking and I was just ready to be done filming, so I just kept going with the books and I'm going to interject it right here. I just really briefly want to kind of tell you guys about the kind of content ideas that I have and the kind of content I want to create in the future. Obviously a lot of book content, bookish related content will probably be my biggest content type. However, it won't just be book content. Like I said earlier in the video, I am really into personal finance and I would love to do some personal finance related videos, whether that be budget with me's or like I thought about maybe doing a series of like personal finance for the girlies, kind of breaking down some personal finance topics, just like those kinds of things. I really like to talk about it, so I want to make videos about it, as well as some academic and college related content as well. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like in the future and kind of what the balance between all those things is going to be. It will primarily be book content, but there will be interspersions of the finance, of the college life, of lifestyle, just sprinkled in between, because I want to be able to make videos that I really want to make as well as what I think you guys would want to see. And I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to only make reading kind of content, just because reading is a really fun hobby for me and I want it to stay that way. So if I feel like I have to make videos just about reading, I feel like that might take two hobbies that I really like and spoil them a little bit, and I don't really want that to happen. So I'm giving myself the freedom to make other kinds of videos. That's kind of what you can expect from me moving forward in the future. And let's get back to talking about the final couple books that I've read this year. Up next is Under the Influence by Noelle Crooks. This is a book about a girl who is like kind of down on her luck and really needs a job really bad, and so she takes this position working for an influencer. Okay, this book stressed me out reading it because like the lack of work-life balance that this girl had was actually giving me major anxiety. But I did quite enjoy it. If you're into like celebrity gossip or like if you're a follower of DeuxMoi, I think that you would actually really like this book just because it feels like a tell-all novel about probably a real experience that people have. 3 stars. It was a good time read and I really enjoyed it. I read this book for book club, The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. This is a fantasy book about a crucible held by the Olympic gods that this girl gets roped into. It is the first of 3, maybe. The second one is coming out 21st of October, I think. I was very excited to read it. Obviously, I love to support another Abigail. Okay, we love to see it. I do like Greek mythology. I mean, I never really read Percy Jackson, but I did read those other books that are like the Goddess Girls or something. I read a bunch of those as a kid, and I've always kind of been into Greek mythology. So I was very, very excited to read this. Unfortunately for me, the execution did fall a little flat. It's sitting somewhere in the realm of like 2.75 to 3 stars for me. It just felt, the pacing felt a little bit off. There wasn't really enough contextual depth, specific actions taken by the characters or specific characterizations of the characters in our book. I needed a little bit more. It kind of goes from like straight from the inciting incident of her meeting Hades is like within the first 20 pages of this book. And I kind of feel like I needed a little bit more in the beginning to get some more context about the world that they were in and characterization, things about Lyra, our main character. So the setup did fall a little flat for me, but where we ended had me excited. So I will be excited to read the next book in this series, trilogy, duology, I'm not quite sure. I will be picking up the next one. So I'm excited about that. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, we have the book that I finished as of filming literally yesterday, Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This book, 8, you guys. This book 8 down. I give it a 5 stars. It made me cry. It was so fun to read. I have had this book on my TBR forever since I heard UnCarly talk about it. It is a book about 4 people who live in a retirement home. They're old. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. They're old. They like to solve cold cases, and they have a club called the Thursday Murder Club. So when a murder happens to someone that they know within their retirement community, they put the cold cases on pause and they go to investigate the murder that has just taken place. This book is so fun, has a lovable cast of characters. It's a great cozy mystery. It made me cry at the end. It has interwoven themes of life and death and grief and love, and I absolutely adored it. I'm doing a movie night with my mom and my grandma for the movie that came out on Netflix about this book, so I'm so excited about that. And I will be eventually getting to the other books that exist within this Thursday Murder Club universe, but I'm gonna savor them a little bit, kind of stretch them out, because I really love this story and I love the characters in it, and I don't want to rush through what's been released, because I think that he has released the last book within this universe, or at least with these characters. So I will be savoring Joyce and Elizabeth and Ibrahim and Ron for as long as I can. So that is it, you guys. That is every single book that I read this year and some life updates for y'all. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube and back talking about books on the internet. Hopefully I don't ever have to do that long of a TBR or a wrap up ever again, because my throat hurts and my back hurts, and that was kind of a lot. But I really wanted to catch up with you guys and kind of let y'all know what I've been reading this year and catch up with some fun things going on in my life so that we can all be like I never even left and we can all be friends again. And I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm about to go play pickleball with my mom. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all the internet things that you know how to do. If you want to be friends with me, my Goodreads is linked down below. Hopefully before the end of this year I'll have an Instagram for you guys to follow. But if you want to be friends with me right now, you can go follow my Goodreads, keep up with what I'm reading that way. We can be friends, we can talk books. And yeah, let me know if there's any videos you guys want to see from me. I have a couple planned for the coming weeks, but I'm always open to ideas, so let me know what y'all want to see from me. Thank you so much for watching. I will see y'all in the next one. Okay, that's all I got for y'all. Mwah. Love you.